Yes. Just wanted to do a quick coin review here for LCX. Community member asked about this if we could do a quick review, and I thought it would be nice to oblige. We have time occasionally to do these, so if you have one that you're really interested in and you want um, an opinion on it, just put it in the chat and we'll take a look at it as long as we have time. Of course. All right, so LCX. Let's just take a quick look. I'm not going to be doing a deep dive on this today. It's one that I'm actually not familiar with, so basically starting from scratch. Pulled it up here on CoinMarketCap. Recently having a migration, changing contracts. So if you're holding it, be aware of that. Um, so you looking at the price action. It's extremely volatile. Market cap currently very low micro cap. Um, so yeah, what I did was I asked AI assistant to give me a breakdown on what this thing is. Just a quick overview. Um, a rating 4 out of 10 based on demand, growth potential, um, things like that, different criteria. Explains what it does. It's an exchange token. Okay. Positives. It's MICA approved. They're talking about going into real world assets. I haven't dug in to see if they have anything under contract or they're doing anything with that other than promoting that they can. I don't know. Um, but it's pretty low also because it's really specific for their own community, right? It doesn't have a lot of drive, a lot of adaption, a lot of push outside its own community, outside of the exchange and its investors. So that's what I was looking at. I'm not super impressed with the utility and its growth potential. It is on some good exchanges, Kraken, Coinbase, uh, BitGet, which is fine. People have access to it, but they're still not bidding it up consistently. So taking a look over at the chart itself, you can see that last bull run, it had a really good pump coming out of 2019 into 2020. It peaked basically at the exact same point, November 2021, that Bitcoin peaked. Bear market, it bottomed around the same time Bitcoin did, about a month after Bitcoin. And then it's just been ranging, ranging here. I'll put some support and resistance zones on it. This is what I was looking at here when I was looking at it briefly. Some good support where we're at right now. We printed a green dollar sign on the BDZ score on the weekly, so that's a really big time frame. So that can be a big deal. For me, it's not one that I'm going to be going in on just because I don't really like to trade very much. I like to DCA and hold and then get out on big levels, take profits, kind of a slow burn. But this one, if it's something that you're interested in, if you're looking for something to swing, then let's put a couple lines on it. Maybe it could be an option for you. Uh, see, we've got some. Let's try to put one down here, see what that looks like. Yeah, something like that. So maybe we go up, maybe it goes up and it touches the top of this again somewhere here. Maybe it gets rejected here once again. If I was to put in a trade on this, again, I wouldn't be holding a long-term bag. You can see when it pumps, it goes pretty aggressive and then a long burn um, consolidation. And then this one here is 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks of a pump and then let's see here, probably almost a year of just consolidating before it moved again. here 2-3 weeks before this long consolidation. So the moves tend to be big flashes, and then long. You don't want to be holding it through here. So um, if it was me, it would be a quick money grab. And if I was to buy at this level, maybe I put in a couple take profits, put one in here at about 30%. It goes to 35%, but I always try to take my profits just before the main resistance hits, just to be safe. It's a lot of people, if they're trading it, they're watching for those resistance levels. Um, and then maybe a second one here at like 45, 50% at this level. And then if you wanted to keep 10% in, if I wanted to keep 10% in and take it out just before it got to this resistance, um, again, maybe 95, hit it before I'd take it out before we actually hit the resistance. That's what I would be looking at. Um, Maybe a person that's trading it wants to, instead of this 10%, if I was to leave 10% in as just kind of let it run, and wait for the BDZ score to trigger, that's another option too. Right, it might not get there quickly, and if it does get there, there could be some fake outs along the way before you make it back up to the top there. Right, you could see here, if you traded the green prints, the green dollar sign prints on the BDZ score, and then you got out on the red print. Let's see what you would have gotten over here. So, like, if you're trading it, you're like, okay, so it hit green here, you bought in, and you said, I'm just going to wait till we get a red. Okay, and if I get another green, I'll just put in another little percentage. So on this first trade, you would have made maybe 30, 35%, depending on how quick you were on the buy and the sell trigger. And then on your second bag, you would have got in down here somewhere, and up here you would have made, let's move it over so I can see it, maybe around 55, 60% on this trade if you were just trading the greens and the red zones here on the BDZ score. If you were to do it on this one, you got in on the green, it went down a little bit further, you got out on the first pump here, you would have missed this massive pump here, which is sad, but you would have made 50%. If you did it on this one, right, if you were just waiting. Now this was a bear market, a full bear market, so you're not going to be buying in because you're also watching Bitcoin. You're not just going off one chart, you're using a whole bunch of charts to help you determine whether to go in or out. So, um, if you were also watching Bitcoin and Bitcoin's putting in bottom signals um, all over the place, then you can see, okay, well, the bottom in Bitcoin was around September. So if you started putting in some money here, right, and you waited, you would have made, say, 150% on that one. And then if you waited for, you saw the next trigger and you went in, you would have made, move it over here so we can see it, about 235% or so on that trade. If you would have done the same thing on this one, you got out on these two levels, you put in, started accumulating your trade bag here. On this trade, you would have made about 100, say 135, 125%. And if you did the same thing, I'm just kind of, you're not going to hit the exact bottom, but just say you got in somewhere here, you got out somewhere here, then you're making about 300% on that one if you're just trading these signals. So we got a signal here. It could always come back down. Like here, we got a signal and then it continued down, right? It's not 100%, but you got a signal here. Maybe you, if you're trading, you put in a little bit. Um, I never go all in on these trades, obviously, kind of DCA in and then get out. Um, Typically, I think like even if you're leaving a lot of the trade on the table, if I'm leaving a lot of the trade on the table, I like to get out on the first red signal. Here you're leaving a lot. You make 50%, whatever, you look for another opportunity. Um, right? So it's that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm looking at for this one. It's not something that I personally would consider building a long-term bag on. It's too niche. Um, a single exchange. I don't know what it's doing for RWA. It says that it's doing RWA. I haven't done any research. Um, maybe somebody has some more information on that. But yeah, it looks like it's a decent trade setup at the very least for a swing trade. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. All right, guys.